Welcome to another edition of Team WBC. It's a pleasure to be here once again and glad to have so many folks on board with us. We're going to go ahead and initiate the presentation, and we'll see how things go tonight. We had planned to share some things with you that we won't be sharing tonight, but I am going to be dropping some new information and new videos in the presentation, and I got a few new ones tonight, so hopefully they will be edifying for you and you can take from them what you will. We're a community of like-minded individuals with an interest in building wealth. We're not financial advisors, so know that all investing carries risk and never invest more than you are willing to lose. This presentation is for entertainment, education, and information purposes. This is not a pyramid scheme. It's not multi-level marketing, direct sales, or any type of scam. There is no auto ship involved in what we do, no recruiting, and no dues. Membership in our Telegram group of over 500 is free, so we ask that you join Telegram if you are able to do so. It is a platform that will enable us to share video and other information and keep you up to speed, and it is also encrypted, so it provides a certain measure of security for us. You can download the app from your favorite app store, and then you can use the Team WBC link to join our group. Also, if the person who invited you to this meeting tonight has you in their contacts on their phone and they are in the Telegram group, they can add you to the group. If you're new to our group, just put your name in the chat if you could and let us know who invited you. And also let us know if you have any experience trading Forex or crypto, or if you have any expertise in precious metals or any of the other things that we deal with. It's always good to have knowledgeable folks in our midst and folks that we know. As a courtesy to others, please mute your microphones. And with that, we will get started. I don't think it's a secret to anyone that America is facing unprecedented challenges right now. Finances have long been a means to control the masses. I ran across a video that really drove this point home, but I was not able to locate it before we started the meeting tonight. So if I can locate it, maybe next week you'll see it. But the bottom line is money has been used to control people. That's why you have systems that involve wages. That's why you have taxation. That's why you have interest rates. And that's why you have a Federal Reserve Bank. So banks have long been the gatekeepers, and the creation of the Federal Reserve Bank in 1913 was the beginning of a centralized system that now threatens to shake things up like never before. Again, one of the videos that I ran across that I wanted to share with you was a TikTok video. And basically this person was explaining how all these wealthy men came together for a meeting and they created the Federal Reserve Bank concept, and they slipped it past Congress and into the president, this new president, and the president signed it into law. But what was interesting about the video is that it was tied to the story of the Titanic, and the Titanic had people on board who were in opposition to the Federal Reserve Bank. Now, some of those millionaires who were in that meeting that was about creating the Federal Reserve Bank were actually on the Titanic, but they got off. So when the Titanic sank, it sank all of the opposition to the Federal Reserve Bank. That is a very, very powerful anecdote about our system. Also, we had the Great Depression in 1929, and this crisis that we are facing right now is actually worse than that. It's worse than the moment in 1933 when the president of the United States took everyone's gold from them. You can see that's FDR right there. And then there was what happened in 1971 when Nixon unhooked the dollar from gold. So we look back at 2008 and we see what happened then. It was almost $1.5 trillion that came to the rescue. And already we've seen that amount and more infused into our economy, when in fact, this bailout that we've recently seen with the 4 banks it was actually illegal, but they changed the rules in order to do that. So all of those things they pale in comparison to where we are right now. Now, we've been talking about something called the Great Reset, and this kind of edifying to me because I watched the video earlier today where the person talked about the Great Reset, and now they're saying, well, it's the banks that are being reset. And it was actually Michelle McCory, who you'll be hearing from a little bit later. Again, I need to ask everyone to make sure that your microphones are muted. So let's just take a look at money and the money supply. We've had 40% of the money that's ever been printed in the history of this country printed within the past few years. They've printed $15 trillion or created $15 trillion since 2020. If you look at the value of that money in 2018, if you had $100,000 and you held on to it for 2 years, in 2 years, that $100,000 has lost $18,000 in value. And that's largely due to inflation and devaluation of the dollar. Now you can extrapolate from that a retirement account, because if you got money in a retirement account, it's doing the same thing. Now, it may not have lost the same amount in terms of value, because with retirement accounts, you might have an increase in the value based on the performance of the stock market. But if the stock market is losing money, then your retirement account is losing money as well. And even in that, you have inflation that affects your retirement account. So even if you still have that $1 million, that $1 million is not worth $1 million anymore. We've also seen increases in the prices of a lot of commodities like gas and corn, which is in so many of our food products. And when the cost of corn goes up, then the cost of those products goes up. When the cost of gas goes up, then the price of those products goes up. So that's one of the reasons that we've seen a lot of inflation when it comes to prices right now. And in the meantime, America's debt is out of control. Now, this video is actually kind of dated right now because it was made before the debt crisis. So I'm gonna bypass this video today because they did reach an agreement. They did raise the debt ceiling. So it's really kind of a moot issue. But it's clear America is broke. And despite the quick rescue of the Fed and the FDIC, of Signature Bank, Silicon Valley Bank, First Republic Bank, and there's another bank that went under, Silvergate. We're going to see a lot of consolidation in here. Now, you saw this video last week, and basically what Lynette Zhang said was the reason that SVB was rescued was because many of the tech companies that are working to create central bank digital currencies had money in that bank. So they could not let those companies go down with the ship. They had to rescue them because they are serving a concrete purpose. So all of this leads to the solution that's being engineered to drastically reform the banking system, and that's central bank digital currency. So here's an interesting quip from Meyer Rothschild. He said, "Let me issue and control a nation's money, and I care not who writes the laws." Kissinger said, "Who controls the food supply controls the people. Who controls the energy can control whole continents. Who controls money can control the world." And that's why I started this presentation talking about the significance and the power of finance and how they have been used to control the world. This is a chart that shows you the world pecking order, and you can see at the top of it the Bank for International Settlements, and you can see the central banks that report to the BIS. And then you have all these other organizations and think tanks that you see right there, the WEF, the Council for Foreign Relations, the Club of Rome, Chatham House, and the Rockefellers. So all of these think tanks have governments that take the ideas that they come up with and they implement those policies with the authority of the military of those national governments. And then you also have the scientific authorities like Food and Drug Administration and National Institutes of Health, the CDC, and all those others. And they exploit or work with the selected scientific authorities to justify the policies that they are required to enforce. And then you have the policy propagandists. So these are the so-called fact checkers. So that when people try to come up with the truth, they shoot them down. I don't know if you all are familiar with Dr. Rashid Ali Boutros, but he is a doctor who was contradicting the narrative that these policy enforcers and policy propagandists were putting out there. And he put out a video a couple of weeks ago to downplay the rumors that he had been killed. I read information about him today that suggested that somehow he had been poisoned and the poisoning led to him having a stroke or something like that. But he did a video just to let people know that he was okay. And ironically, on the next day, they reported his death. So the folks who are so-called running things, they are very serious about taking out any opposition to their plan, but they're learning that there are a lot of people who oppose what they're trying to do. And I'm going to share a little bit with you later in our presentation to kind of quantify that. So this is Mark Moss. He's someone that I've been following for the past few days, and he is a proponent of Bitcoin. There was just recently a Bitcoin conference down in Florida, and within the next few weeks, I'm going to be bringing you some footage from that conference. In the video that I just skipped over, he was explaining that the person that is running the Bank for International Settlements has some sentiments that cash must be eliminated. So they want to prevent people from using cash. So let's take a listen to this, and you can hear it from his mouth.
Oh my gosh, it's here. The final CBDC piece was just released. Now, central bank digital currencies are the final piece needed for governments around the world to impose their Orwellian nightmare control over us, we the people. And while you've been hearing more and more about CBDCs lately, it finally made the big jump from something to hear directly from him.
Our analysis on CBDC, in particular for the use of general use, we tend to establish the equivalence with cash, and there is a huge difference there. For example, in cash, we don't know, for example, who's using a $100 bill today. We don't know who is using a 1,000 peso bill today. A key difference with the CBDC is that central bank will have absolute control on the rules and regulations that will determine the use of that expression of central bank liability. And also we will have the technology to enforce that. Those two issues are extremely important, and that makes a huge difference with respect to what cash is.
So he used two very important words in what he just said. The first one that he said was control. The second one that he said was enforcement. And if you go back to this chart, you will see that here's enforcement. The enforcement comes from the governments, and the control comes from up here. So they do not have good plans for us right now. Let's listen to Lena Petrova right now. She's going to tell us about central bank digital currencies.
Hello and welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. In this video, I'll on anything that you may have missed. Central bank digital currencies are programmable currencies with a variety of features that can be turned on or turned off depending on the issuer's needs and preferences. The digital currency is issued by a central bank rather than a commercial bank. Once issued, it will essentially remain under the full control of its issuer. CBDCs are state issued and state operated. Digital currency development is truly a global process these days. At this moment, based on the information that was shared by the Atlantic Council, 114 countries are actively pursuing CBDCs. Of those 114 countries, 10% have already adopted them. 16% have launched a variety of pilot programs. These are limited scope rollouts, by the way, and 57% are researching or developing digital currencies. So needless to say, there is no turning back given that the entire world is firmly on the digital currency path. What does a CBDC derive its value from? That is a very important question. The value is linked to the issuing country's official currency. So in the case with the US dollar, for example, the value of the digital dollar will be 1-to-1 with the fiat US currency. With that being said, CBDCs are not pegged to any physical commodity. So there's absolutely nothing tangible that backs it. The digital dollar will be backed by the full faith of the government, same as our fiat currency. Now let's talk about expiration dates. A CBDC is very likely to have an expiration date. A CBDC in China has expiration dates, and it serves as an encouragement for consumers, for users to use it. Essentially, it will be use or lose it type situation. As you might already know, expiration dates would make it virtually impossible for you to save your digital currency for future use.
So you can't save your digital currency for future use, and it really isn't intended for you to use that money for investment purposes. And with the control that they will have over that money, they can prevent you from spending it on whatever they want to prevent you from spending it on. So it's really important to know that. Petrova also documented that they have had issues with CBDCs in Nigeria, because they issued their electronic version, their CBDC, and they're trying to switch out the old currency with new currency. It's really been a nightmare for them. So we're just going to take a quick listen to what she says about that.
Hello and welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. In this video, I want to share with you, start with Nigeria. There's a lot that can be said, but for purposes of this video, Nigeria has been suffering. In late 2022, the government put a limit on cash withdrawals, which resulted in Nigerians not being able to cover even medical expenses or buy food. The rate of adoption has been extremely low, and in Naira was not received well. The cash crisis really did hit the economy hard, but the Nigerian central bank is actively pursuing the help of 2 tech companies to assist them with the implementation of the CBDC. There's an entire video on my channel with the details on the cash crisis that also coincided with their presidential elections and was definitely affected by it as well. Bahamas Sand Dollar was one of the first CBDCs to be formally adopted. The Central Bank of the Bahamas, CBB, launched the Sand Dollar just over 2 years ago. Bloomberg is reporting that 2 years in, adoption is sluggish.
So you can see that despite what they would like to see happen, not everybody is running towards it. And I think I might be bringing you something that indicates that there are some legislators who in America who are against it as well. So it's not going to be a cakewalk. I ran across a video with Michael Saylor, and I wish I was able to share that with you. I'm going to share it with you next week, but he intimates that he doesn't expect CBDCs to just get massively adopted in America. And that's because some people are wise enough to understand the threat that it poses to our freedom and our sovereignty. So there are also concerns about the US dollar losing its status as the world reserve trading currency. So you have Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and some other nations that are moving away from it. And China is pushing its digital yuan for purchasing petroleum from the Saudis. So let's hear what Lena has to say about the expansion of the BRICS and the role that China is going to play with that.
Hi, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. I know many of you are interested to learn more about the BRICS bloc, the latest developments, and how this will impact the United States dollar and inherently, of course, your savings, your investments, your quality of life. Today, I have some major news to share with you. This is, of course, not something that you would hear in the media. Nobody's really reporting on it. And there's a good reason why. The official BRICS bank, the new development bank, is in the process of admitting Saudi Arabia as its 9th BRICS member state. This is a major move that will considerably strengthen the BRICS alliance. And of course, we have to understand that for the United States currency, this is not good news because effectively the US is losing its biggest ally in the Middle East. This is a big disadvantage. It is a fail. And what makes this even worse is that the US is losing its biggest ally in that region to China. As you all understand and know, Saudi Arabia has been our partner in that region since the 1950s, I believe. It is because of this partnership that the petrodollar exists. Remember that back in the 1970s, to be precise, in 1973, the petrodollar system was created as the result of a deal between the United States and Saudi Arabia. Both countries agreed to price and to trade oil in the US dollars. And
now check this out.
China's oil imports are expected to be at an all-time high this year. Let's take a look at the numbers. China's oil demand topped 16 million barrels per day in April, setting a new all-time high just a month after it broke through the 15 million barrels per day mark for the first time. The surge came as refiners took advantage of healthy domestic refining margins, which have been bolstered by imports of cheap Russian crude feedstock. In terms of what this is actually worth, the United States will be missing out on tens of billions of dollar-denominated oil transactions. For example, Insider and Reuters are reporting that in 2022 alone, China paid $88 billion worth, denominated in the yuan, of course, to the Russian Federation for commodities. And that number is shaping up to be much, much higher this year in 2023. In addition to that, it has been reported that Pakistan is now going to purchase oil from Saudi Arabia using the yuan, not the dollar, but the yuan. Pakistani minister said, "We hope that if this becomes a long-term arrangement, it will become a rupee and Chinese currency transaction. And perhaps that currency swap needs to become larger in order for us to take advantage of other opportunities that might arise."
So I know that in the past, we've shown you some videos where there have been some folks who have said that, you know, this whole move towards an alternative currency is something that we may not see for 5 years or 10 years or whatever. But the fact of the matter is things are moving rapidly in this new industrial age in terms of technology and all other kinds of things. And these moves that are being made by these other countries are going to impact us, I'm saying, sooner rather than later. Now, I'm not a financial expert and I'm not in a position to make those predictions, but I can tell you what kind of I'm feeling in my gut, and that's kind of what I'm feeling in my gut. So this phenomenon is called de-dollarization. Now, this economist says, as I've said before, its impact is not immediate, but I wanted to share the video that I just shared with you just to show that there are reasons for us to be concerned. So just a few takeaways before we move forward in the presentation. The banks are dropping like flies. In fact, half of them, or almost half of them, are insolvent. I've run this video in the past, and essentially the message is there are 2,400 banks that are underwater right now, and it is not expected that they will survive. And as these banks continue to fold, there will be consolidation that will eliminate an increasing number of central banks. Now, centralization of currency by CBDCs is seen by some as a move away from capitalism into communism. There would be some who would argue, however, that what we're calling capitalism in the United States is not really capitalism because there's not a fair marketplace. And the evidence of that is the fact that you have so many monopolies and you have companies that are gobbling up other companies. And basically what they're doing is eliminating the competition, and eliminating the competition is increasing centralization, which is not in the interest of the people in this country because it doesn't level the playing field. And so this is a point that Mark Moss would make. And the other thing that he would say about the whole idea of centralization is that it eliminates financial opportunities for small businesses because they rely on regional banks for capital. But when those banks are gone and a central bank is dominant, the relationships that the business folk have with their bankers who understand their circumstances, the market, and their ability to generate profits, that dynamic won't exist. And as a result, these companies will lose out on access to capital. And when they can't have access to capital, it means that they can't do business. And if they can't do business, they can't employ people. And the employment is 80% of the workforce of this entire country. So what we're going to see is banks going out of business. We're going to see recession. We're going to see higher unemployment. We're going to see higher prices for things because of the inflation that promises to be hyperinflation, which is like something that we've never seen before. So all of these things are tied to our financial system. And that's why now is the time to prepare for what is to come and what is already happening. Again, we talk about a central bank digital currency and a digital dollar. Well, the dollar is already in digital form because the amount of money in circulation in terms of being cash or coin is a very small percentage. Now, I've heard different figures. I heard Mark Moss say 80% today. I've heard others say that it is as low as 4% of actual physical currency and 96% digital. So for them to switch from one system to another is not going to be a major undertaking. I guess that the real issue will be moving to a system that allows them to program the currency, because right now a dollar is a dollar and they can't, aside from freezing your account or just closing your account down, they can't program it to do certain things. But again, with that being said, a lot of the controls that we're having concerns and fears about, they're already in place. So what we need to do is begin to acquire assets that can serve as a store of value. So precious metals are one of those items, and they can serve as a key commodity for your portfolio. Gold and silver are poised to see significant gains in the near future as they have been suppressed in terms of their value, and we've discussed that at length in our program. But you can buy gold as coins, both semi-numismatic and numismatic coins. You can buy fractional gold coins, and you can also buy gold and silver by the gram. You can also purchase gold backs, and these are paper and polymer instruments that have a value, and they are also in different denominations. You can use apps like UPMA and GlintPay, and you can purchase precious metals, have them stored, and you can acquire a debit card to spend against the value of the precious metal in your account. Let's check this out. This comes to us from UPMA.
Most of us have never known a time when there wasn't any inflation. We're completely conditioned to accept that the same asset, whether it be a house, car, or food, will inevitably cost more in the future than it does today. But why is that? Inflation is created by governments that spend more than they take in. Instead of raising taxes to cover the shortfall, which would be very unpopular, they simply print more money. Now, since the buying power of our money is based on how much there is in circulation, increasing the money supply dilutes its buying power, thus causing a steady rise in prices. And because our wages aren't necessarily increasing at the same rate as inflation, and because this rate isn't accounted for with any of our profits on investments, we end up paying a hidden inflation tax. But is this reality inescapable? Isn't there some way to secure our wealth from this hidden tax, this ever-creeping reduction in purchasing power? Fortunately, the answer is yes. While our currency has lost more than 96% of its purchasing power since the creation of the Federal Reserve in 1913, gold and silver have retained most, if not all, of their buying power. What this means in practical terms is that the same amount of silver or gold required to buy a car or house in 1950 would still buy an equivalent car or house today. That's great, but how does that help me? Is there some way that I can use gold and silver to pay for things? Again, the answer is yes. In 2011, the state of Utah passed the Utah Legal Tender Act. This made Utah the first state in the U.S. to return gold and silver back to their proper status as money. In response to this landmark legislation, and to help people take advantage of the benefits of real money, the United Precious Metals Association, or UPMA, was born. UPMA makes it easy to use gold and silver as real money to pay for real things every day. Right now, you can buy food, pay your mortgage, shop online, and even pay your taxes using real money, gold and silver. For more information, visit upma.org. United Precious Metals Association. Protect your wealth. Return to prosperity.
All right, so this is one of the programs that we're involved in, and they made it very clear that we need to be doing something else just based on what's going on. So we do have this resource, and our friend Wayne is definitely plugged in, so we can plug in through that method. Now we have another platform or another instrument that we have access to, and this one is called Glint Pay. And according to its CEO, Glint Pay is an alternative to CBDCs, and he's going to explain that to us in just a few moments. I will be bringing you additional videos that come from this platform, so stay tuned.
This, my feeling is that when you open the box and let this out, it's very difficult to put it back in. And the one thing that people can do, of course, I think, is start making sure that they are also, whilst they still are integrated with and using the existing financial system, they find ways to also work outside that. And obviously, there's the cryptocurrency movement for people. And I think that's a good way to look. It's definitely start to look at that if you haven't done already. But also, there's Glint. What is Glint offering? We're offering the ability to put people on their own personal gold standard. So with the Glint app and with the Glint MasterCard, you can buy gold, save it, send it to other people outside of the US, that is, spend it anywhere in the world where MasterCard's accepted, which is effectively putting you on your own personal gold standard. And we know already that gold over time, although the value of gold fluctuates as confidence in fiat currencies goes up and down, we know that over the long term, gold is beating inflation. We know that it's it's outside of the banking system. So your gold's in a vault insured by Lloyd's of London. So it's also protected against systemic risk and hopefully giving you a hedge against the developments in the economy, which we're seeing, and hopefully as well some of these kind of dangers that I see with CBDCs.
Yeah, no, I think it's good advice. And I think because we're going to be hearing more about these, and I think people need to know exactly what they're all about and what the potential could be.
All right. We suggest that you can use one gold to acquire gold and silver. In our meeting last week, I think Brother Wayne mentioned the fact that they're using a credit card, and there's an issue with that. And there was another issue that he brought up as well that I can't bring to mind right now. But we do have UPMA and we do have Glint Pay. And if you want to go with one gold, because you can acquire silver with one gold as well. So that's an option that you have. And this video right here explains to you how one gold works. I'm not going to show that one tonight. I had intended to share some video with you that involved Michelle McCory and Michael Saylor, who is a proponent of Bitcoin. He has a company called MicroStrategies, and MicroStrategies owns a significant amount of Bitcoin. I don't have the videos in the presentation tonight. As I said, I'll share them with you next week. But what I will say is that Bitcoin represents a few different advantages. You know, you have folks who advocate for gold, you have folks who advocate for Bitcoin, and then you have folks who advocate for both. I'm not an investment counselor or anything like that, but my suggestion, just based on the idea that we want to diversify, is that you do have both, because they each have their respective advantages. Bitcoin has advantages in that it is easier to move. So if you wanted to make a purchase and you wanted to use a significant amount of gold, you have the issue of moving it from one place to another. With Bitcoin, as you know, based on the blockchain and technology, you can move it within seconds. Also, Bitcoin has its own infrastructure, its own network, its own blockchain. It operates independently of the banking system. So with that, and it's also completely transparent. So it has strengths that involve technology, and we're living in a world in which technology reigns supreme. So there are a lot of positive benefits about Bitcoin. You know, I can't tell you what to do, but if I were to make a suggestion, one thing that you can do is you can acquire Bitcoin, and you can store Bitcoin on your own personal storage device. And then that way it's out of harm's way. And as it increases in value, as some project, now, again, you might have some people who say that Bitcoin is going to be eliminated, but proponents of it don't see that possibility, although they do suggest that it's possible for it to lose value. So, some are saying that it might go down to as far as 1,500. But even if that were to happen, Bitcoin would still be worth more than the US dollar. And because there is a finite supply of Bitcoin, they're only going to create 21 million tokens. You're not going to have that same issue of inflation as you have with the US dollars. With the debt ceiling deal that they passed last week, they are going to increase the US money supply. And with this increase in the US money supply, you're going to see a substantial decrease in the value of the money, and it's something that's going to affect everybody. So I heard someone project today that a gallon of milk, instead of being $5, will be $60 sometime in the future. And I don't know whether it's a near future or not, but if hyperinflation occurs to the extent that it could, and it has in other countries like Zimbabwe, you had people who were billionaires, so to speak. But if something small costs $1 billion, what good does it do you to have $1 billion where it's not going to go that far? So it's all relative, folks. It's definitely all relative. According to Albert Einstein, compound interest is the 8th wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it. He who doesn't pays it. So what we have here is a program similar to Novatech that uses compound interest, and it's called funds. There are some of us who are already in this program. I know Wayne is in the program. Our partners, Jay Johnson and Brad Byler, are into funds, and I think Vern is on funds and others. So there are folks in our group who are already in this program, and they are earning 3% on a weekly basis consistently. This is their disclaimer. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but basically the sentiment of this, as all of them have, is the fact that there is risk involved. And I'll just read this last paragraph. Funds is not a financial advisor, hedge fund, token, coin, security, or exchange. It's not a pyramid scheme or get-rich-quick proposition. Content in this document may contain information that includes forward-looking statements that may give our expectations or forecasts of future events. Any and all forward-looking statements here on any of our sales material are intended to express our opinion of earnings potential. When describing the compensation plan and affiliates, statements must be truthful, accurate, and not misleading. And I think the concern there is that you don't really want to bait folks into a program like this or give them unreasonable expectations or any type of enticement. You know, it is what it is. You can take advantage of it if you choose, and if you choose not to, it's your decision to walk away. These are photos of the folks who are the advisory board. This is the leadership of this company. And again, you can do your own due diligence and research them if you choose to, but they are sharing who they are. They're not, you know, invisible folks, you know, they're real people. And again, it's up to you to do whatever due diligence you feel is appropriate. What they are saying makes them different. Well, they do the work and we share the earnings. They have dependable developers. They're in 200 countries. They say that there's sustainable revenue for sources for residuals. And they say there are 0 withdrawal fees, but you can see the asterisks there. So there are some blockchain fees that will be involved. Okay. See, who is this? All right. And one of the ways that they do it is staking. So you're getting paid a share of the profits on a weekly average of 3% and a monthly average of about 12%. It's passive income that doesn't require you to do anything, so you can make money while you sleep. The payments are sent directly to your crypto wallet. So with that, you can create a nest egg and legacy earnings. You can see your earnings multiply on a weekly basis, and the rewards are paid out on Fridays. These are the 8 ways that you can make money with funds. So the first couple involve staking. So again, the 3 and 12%, and then you get 10% from personal referrals, and then you get team referrals through 8 generations that allow you to do staking and make a profit from that. And you can see the others. There are personal referrals at a 13% rate. And then with the 4x8 network, you have 7% through 8 levels. And then, of course, you have some other bonuses that are tied to your productivity. So the car bonus, the house bonus, and then there's a marketplace that will result in direct payments to you. This is just some additional information about the membership levels. They have 2 levels. One is a $10 per month level, and one is a $30 per month level. And with these different levels, you can see what the monthly residual potential is. So with a $10 membership, you have a monthly residual potential of $2.80 on the first level, $11.20 on the second, $44.80 on the third, $179.20 on the fourth, and so forth and so on. With the $30 membership, you have that potential monthly residual potential of $8.40 on the first level, $33.60 on the second, up to $137,625 on that 8th level. And you might be looking at this and saying, "Oh, you know, that's a lofty goal. It's impossible." I can tell you that anything is possible, and I'm just reflecting on my experience with Novatech, because in my situation, even though I started out not intending to share it with anyone, I was able to build a downline. At the last time I was able to see the statistic, it was over 900 people. So, and some of that was due to the activities of folk in my downline, but I know that some of that happened as a direct result of some of the sharing that I was doing. So it's not impossible, but the beauty of this is that this aspect of the program is optional. It's not required. So if you choose not to participate in this, you are still able to see some kind of return on your investment. So I'm going to stop sharing at this point. Now, I will be transparent and tell you that we had intended to share another platform called FinTalk with you this evening. And it's not that we're not going to share FinTalk with you right now, but we're not going to share FinTalk with you right now. There are some things that are happening, and I think based on what I've heard, there are positive developments, but they are going to involve some other things in their platform. And I was told that the present paradigm that will allow you to grow your investment in a relatively short period of time will continue to exist, but they're also moving into the direction of mining, and they're going to issue their own token, and it's a token that is expected to have functionality, and as a result of having the functionality, it's expected that it will have greater value. So they're saying that now is a really good time to get in. We'll need to gather more information about what that looks like and how to onboard. And as we do, we will bring that information to you. But in the meantime, we're going to move forward with the things that we are already doing, and that includes funds, that includes UPMA, that includes Glint Pay, and there are some other platforms that Brother Wayne has come across that he will be sharing with us. So at this point, I'm going to welcome to our call our good friend, our dear brother, the master researcher, none other than Brother Wayne Chandler. Wayne?
Thank you, my brother. I appreciate it. Appreciate it. It's been a very busy week, and I feel like I've been all over the place, collecting information to do this, to do that, to just kind of bring some clarity to the direction that we all need to take right now, just based on the many opportunities that we have before us. Sometimes the opportunities can get overwhelming, and when that takes place, you know, one needs to slow down and just put themselves in a position where they can really analyze and investigate more thoroughly exactly what's transpiring. That's been my week, you know. So I actually do have a couple of platforms that I have been looking at. And Vince, I never got around to sending you the information. I think I did send it to Sabrina, and I don't even know if she's on the call tonight. But I do want to start with just what I feel is some positive information with respect to Nova, and it's how I've been feeling things that are taking place right now. And a lot of people, there's a lot of pushback with respect to, you know, don't feel that they're going anywhere. I don't feel that they're going anywhere. Now, this is an interesting email that was sent to me today. And this comes from somebody who's really close to Novatech, to the operation, and to the individuals, the Petions, and their brother. But it goes on, and it says, founders and the And as soon as they are ready, they will let us know. In the words of another leader, it seems to me that the founders are playing chess, not checkers. When you are playing chess, you have to take your time and strategically make your moves. Communicating your every move might cost you the game. At times, the best moves on the chessboard are made in silence, and they are very calculated. The best we can do at this moment is to give them the time they need to get this ship back on track and continue to lift them up in our prayers while we continue to support each other. We also need to continue to be there for the folks that we have invited into the program. So when I read that today, it really resonated with me. And it resonated in a way that it really kind of confirms what it is that I've been feeling and symbolically what I've been getting from the minuscule amounts that people find in their ROIs. Everything right now is moving back into Novatech so that they can reset, rebalance, and just reconfigure the direction that they need to take right now. And I believe, I don't know, in my heart of hearts, I just feel very strongly that they're definitely going to step back into the game. We haven't lost anything. They're not going to allow us to fall by the wayside. And we just need to just sit patiently and wait for them to get their house back in order. So with that being said, some of the things that I've been seeing and just interesting pieces of information dropping into my lap. One of those pieces of information that did drop into my lap deals with, matter of fact, it was somewhat strange, in the sense that I was relaying a birthday message on Facebook to a friend of mine, and very popular friend. They are a musician by trade and a very popular musician. So I was going through an entirely long thread of comments and such. But when I laid my comment down to wish this sister a happy belated, this brother reached out, and I don't know him, but I guess he not only knows me, but has a sense of what my practical life in terms of my daily investments into life look like on a financial scale of things. And he asked me to reach out to this one individual who was very involved and invested in Bitcoin. He said, if you reach out to this individual, you will not be disappointed. So I reached out to him, and, we went back and forth with a conversation, and based on just what Vince was sharing and stating, as fact regarding, the direction of Bitcoin and the solidarity of Bitcoin as a conscious investment choice that could be very strategic during these times. I want to share with you what this looks like. Now, his name is Numzi Brown. And I was trying to get him to come on the platform on the Zoom tonight, but all I got back was crickets. But dealing with what was shared, he says, I am a professional Bitcoin mining manager. I mentor and manage investors' trading accounts to ensure they gain and earn huge profit from the comfort of their home by investing in Bitcoin. Then, of course, he asked me if I have any prior knowledge of Bitcoin, and we go back and forth with that. And I tell him I own some Bitcoin and blah, blah, blah. He gives me a history anyway. And then I say, come on, WBC, rap about what it is that you do. There are people who are very at Forex traders and seems to have a pretty serious following with respect to clients that he has worked with and allowing them to make substantial amounts of money based on giving them correct and definitive direction into how they need to handle and trade their Bitcoin. So what I am going to do, for those of you who are interested in this guy and what he has to offer, his let me see what his contact information is something you really need to have. So again, he's on Facebook. He has asked that anyone who is interested in moving forward with either Bitcoin investment or trading your Bitcoin in strategic ways and manners, reach out to him and he will assist you further in the program that he has designed. Again, this is his name up here. He seems to be very somewhat cryptic about how he moves. That may be a red flag. It may be that he's just cautious about talking to strangers, you know, but for those of you who are interested in seeing what it is he's talking about and what he has to offer, you can reach out to him. I told him that people would probably be looking to get in contact with him Monday or Tuesday. I'm going to reach out to him. I told him on Monday and just attempt to get a little bit more solid information, you know, for what it is he's presenting and how he is set up to really assist people in this Bitcoin trading system that he has designed. One of the platforms that I have found to be interesting And I have to say, I have not been able to get into the platforms. I have not been able to analyze the platforms in the way that I want. But there are a couple of people who are in these platforms and they are seriously singing their praises. The first platform is this. And this is a platform that seems to have a lot going on. Their mission, how they're set up. Both platforms I'm going to show you have affiliate aspects to them. They seem to be really thorough. Their project. They both use AI and cryptocurrencies to optimize their investment opportunities. They have, as they refer to as an intelligent system, meticulously, which analyzes market data, allocating funds to high potential ventures with exceptional, this is what they're saying, exceptional returns, revolutionizing the way investors grow their wealth in the digital age. So what my minor, brief, I guess, analyzing of this particular platform brought to me was they're really into AI, and what they do is they look for AI business ventures that are moving through the market that have anywhere between a 40 to 60% upside in terms of their success and in their business. And they make investments into these AI programs and they get returns off of these investments in the immediate here and now. And the depth of that, I have not been able to go deep enough to see exactly what all of that looks like. They have a state-of-the-art AI system that sifts through vast data sets, identifying promising crypto investment opportunities with precision and speed, maximizing your returns while minimizing risk. Diversified portfolio. They have a well-rounded investment approach, strategically diversifying your portfolio across various high-performing cryptocurrencies, enhancing stability, bolstering your investments' resilience to market fluctuations, bolstering your investments' resilience to market fluctuations. It sounds really good. Like I said, there are a couple of people that I know who are in it. They are singing their praises, but we're going to get into it, investigate, and just get a little bit more clarity about the design and the technology behind the scenes. Continuous monitoring. Their sophisticated AI technology continuously monitors market trends and adjust investment allocations accordingly, ensuring, which is a big key word, ensuring your assets remain optimally positioned for consistent growth and long-term success. So, sounds good. They have the investment, the future of AI, cryptocurrencies. They have their referral program, expand your earning potential through our rewarding referral program, share the benefits of this program with your network, and earn attractive commissions for every successful referral. Invest together, thrive together. Mutual fund. Access professionally managed mutual funds that blend AI-driven insights with diversified crypto investments. Benefit from our expert fund managers' keen market analysis, ensuring steady growth and risk mitigation for your assets. Now, that being said, because when we hear that, you know, hedge fund platforms, et cetera, we think Novatech, but this particular company, you know, they're out and situated in the UK. That's where they're based. They're based in the UK. So they don't have a lot of the hoops and a lot of the blockades that Novatech has had to deal with in trying to deal with Canada and the States. So that's one of the platforms that we're going to be deeply investigating, and it's promising. It feels really good to me. I've put it out to a few people to go in and really dissect it. And that's what is taking place now. The other platform is this platform right here, which is a complete and total automated trading platform fully built by artificial intelligence. It's the AI created trading bot that they say never misses. Now, I've got some close friends that are invested in this particular platform, and they say they are truly loving it. So I'm not going to drop it to anybody until we go in and do our own due diligence. So next Sunday, we'll be able to really have some serious insight and hopefully profound investment opportunities for everyone that's a part of WBC, and, you know, move our game forward. One of the things, again, that is taking place, which I find to be very interesting, is the move towards silver, gold, the identification of a potential onslaught of the CBDC. And what does that mean? So one of the guys that I work with, somewhat follow, is this man by the name of Jim Rickards. Now, those of you who don't know Jim Rickards, he's probably one of the biggest investor analysts and pundits and guides in the whole investment world on the planet. I'm talking about globally. He's worked with everyone in various governmental operations, from the CIA, you know, and helping them establish a blockchain-based program to give them deeper insight into how other systems from other countries are working. And he's written, I think, about maybe 5 or 6 New York Times best-selling books on money. and money in its various aspects. So I work in a program with him, and every Friday he has this Ask Jim Rickards any question that you want to ask. So this was one of the questions that I was going to ask, but somebody asked it before I asked. And that question is, when the government starts to implement its digital currency program, will it eventually be able to extract stocks and CDs from our accounts? Now, this was his answer. The new central bank digital currency, CBDC, in the form of dollars, what we call Biden bucks, will be programmable and therefore be the target for almost any kind of market intervention by the government. So we're talking about, even though, because the government even though it says that banks and governments,
it's like now my friend, like it was like I don't know.
so banks oversee financial or government oversees financial institutions. So anything that's connected in any way, shape, form, or fashion, directly or indirectly to the government, is going to be in harm's way when it comes to the government releasing these CBDCs. What does that mean? It means if you have stocks, if you have cryptocurrency, if you have 401s, if you have IRAs, 403s, all of those are susceptible to being converted into CBDCs. So they go on. He goes on to say that the intervention by the government, period. Technically, stocks are held in brokerage accounts rather than bank deposits. But the stocks are still denominated in dollars. And this is what Vince and I always go back to. What is the end game? The end game is that anything denominated in dollars is going to be susceptible to conversion into CBDCs. And he goes on, he says, if the Fed or Treasury maintain the digital ledger for the CBDC dollar, they could freeze or seize almost any asset in CBDC form, or make it non-transferable in certain cases. This does not mean you should dump stocks today, but it does mean that you should watch developments carefully and be prepared to adjust your portfolio when the CBDC appears. This is something we are watching carefully in our publications. But again, there are only three things to me that escape this endgame fatality that the Fed has devised. And that endgame fatality, it all leads back to anything that used to be denominated in fiat. that is now denominated in CBDCs, which means whatever our dollar looked like, the mere fact that it was based in the US dollar and is now CBDC means that it's subject to manipulation, which means that, again, we go back to three major assets. And that's it in terms of like stability and security. We're looking at Bitcoin, we're looking at silver, and we're looking at gold. Those are the three things that are real in this whole game. Now, I'm not saying when certain cryptos become accessible not to invest. Right now, we're looking at XRP. XRP is supposed to make some serious moves in June. Every day, I'm reading about XRP and June. When XRP, if it makes that move in June and it gets to, they're saying $28.50, cash out, go in, do your thing. You want to do as much as you can in the general altcoin universe until the CBDCs become active. Once they become proactive, then how we navigate, the marketplace of altcoins, it's going to be a dicey affair. It just is. Because they're always going to be susceptible and being turned into CBDCs. Cardano, Solano, XRP, Polygon, Algorand, those are all the cryptos that have iOS affiliation, meaning that they, by their design, must be integrated with the CBDCs. That's what that means. Which means that when people go to cash them in, you're not going to get fiat dollars. You're going to get CBDCs. When you roll your 401 over, you're not going to get US dollars. You're going to get CBDCs. Your IRA, you're going to get CBDCs. So what you want to do right now, for those of you who haven't taken the initiative to do it, is you want to do your research and really get into what a CBDC is, even though Vince and I have talked about it, in an ongoing premise, but you want to do your own research. Find out exactly what they are, what they bring to the table, and to see if you want to be a part of their program. Many people may. But you really want to focus on how you can move whatever fiat assets you have right now into silver and into gold. That's why we really push UPMA, United Precious Metals Association, and their affiliation with Alpine Gold. It's why we look at Glint as another major platform. Both of these operations have debit cards. And I have the card, so I'm telling you, they have debit cards that are connected to their operations. And when things begin to shift, go under, and change profoundly for the worse, and everybody else is looking and wondering how they're going to get food, water, and other types of commodities, toilet paper, paper towels, and whatever else, everybody runs amok for, gallons of milk and such, and loaves of bread. You'll have a way to pay for whatever it is you need. You'll have a way to do that. So I'm gonna leave you with this, because I just found this once again, because we've talked about this.
Some assets, right? What are assets, how to get it? I'm going to teach you a little trick. This is a great asset that I personally enjoy owning. It's a 100-gram bar of silver by a metal refiner called Valcambi. Now, they make this specialty bar that could be divided into 100 individual pieces. It's a great silver asset to own. I bought a bunch to make available on TracksYC.com, but I'm going to be honest with you, it's nowhere near the spot price. Now, we do offer financing, but when you're buying things like this, as long as you're paying 0 APR, it's okay. However, if you want closer to the spot price, which is the value of the metal on the market that day, you could try Bouillon Trading LLC. That's one of my vendors for metals here in the Diamond District, and you can get your metals there for closer to the spot price. The spot price of silver per gram is 83 cents. Now, we're selling these pieces for way more than that because they are a specialty bar. If you could get it for cheaper, you should. So a lot of people are asking me.
Now, this guy is in the financial district in New York, and he's telling you straight out, he's able to substantially raise the price on these grams. These are grams that he's showing you of silver and gold, and people are buying them. He's having no issue in selling these. What does that tell you? Vince, hitting it back to you.
Man, you just you just hit us with a big one, man. I mean, shoot, you can go into business selling grams of silver and gold right now. A couple of things, Brother Wayne. I didn't get to drop the videos tonight that dealt with what they're doing in Texas. They're looking to create a gold-backed cryptocurrency, and they're looking to infuse precious metals into their economy so you can use them. And also they're pushing back on CBDCs, same thing that they've already done in Florida, same thing that they've already done in Indiana. I got one video where
North Carolina too.
I got one video where Mark Moss is saying that, CBDCs are going to be eventual, but I also have Michael Saylor saying that there's enough pushback from legislators that may make it so that it's not automatic and that they may not be implemented in America. And I think the one thing that he mentioned is that America is going to do the opposite thing that China does. So it may or may not be true. We'll have to wait and see what happens. But I guess what Saylor is saying is that there is enough opposition on the part of Congress people who I think realize that they have power to give up. I mean, it's not just, their constituents' sovereignty, but it's their own sovereignty. It's like, if there's a virus out there, it's not going to bypass you just because you have an address in Washington, D.C.
Right.
And I don't think they were thinking about that when they you know, gain a function, make it more virulent and all that other kind of stuff. But, you know, it's the same concept to me. So I don't necessarily think that CBDCs are going to be the cakewalk. I think what they're doing is they're laying the groundwork to deceive you into thinking that it's the right thing to do. And I think one of the points that was made in one of the videos that I watched, and I think it was Mark Moss and this other guy that were being interviewed by Michelle McCory. And they basically said that if they don't push it through in front of your face, they'll just attach it to another bill and it'll get passed and you don't even know that. You know, so they have a lot of ways that they can operate, but the one thing that they're forgetting is that the people of this country and people of other countries have to agree to participate in their game. And if you refuse, you find other ways. So whether it's bartering, whether it's putting a gram of silver in somebody's hand or a gram of gold to get what you want, we'll find another way, you know. Just like this whole idea that they're going to do away with cash. And that's something I'm remembering to ask you. When you have your conversation with Jim Rickards, if the Forex markets are a $5 trillion a day market, what's going to happen to the Forex markets around the world?
Yeah, when you look at a crash like that, a removal, the crash that ensues is devastating. I mean, you're talking about an implosion that is going to change the way all countries operate financially. I mean, if the Forex market goes down like that, that's a great question.
Yeah. Ask him about that, because I'm really curious about that, because you got all these people all around the world. They've all got their own systems working in their own country.
Right.
And you can look at El Salvador. They've adopted Bitcoin. You know, there are so many strengths that I'm learning about when it comes to the strength of Bitcoin, you know. And somebody was explaining how certain countries will actually acquire a certain level of Bitcoin as a hedge. So they're looking at using Bitcoin as a hedge, including the United States. And they're also saying that some of these banks are going to start acquiring Bitcoin. So, yeah, you know, their plans are not etched in stone, and we don't necessarily have to expect them to get their way. I just need to let folks know that I've had some unstable internet issues with my computer tonight. And even though my went out, I got two computers running here. And so the meeting wasn't interrupted by the outages, but the recording was. So I don't know if there are going to be 3 parts in terms of recordings to this meeting or not. I know that N. Larkin asked me a question, but because my computer went out, I'm not able to access the chat at this time. So Ms. Larkin, what I'm going to do is after the meeting ends, I'm going to review the recordings, and if I can locate your question, then drop your email in the chat. I'll respond to it or post it to Telegram, but somehow communicate an answer to you. So I just wanted to put that out there. We're at 9:44. If nobody has anything, and I see Verna has her hand up, and I'll recognize that, we'll move towards conclusion. So Verna, your question, comment?
Okay, yes, thank you all both for your information, valuable information that's been shared this evening. All right, Wayne, I want to ask you about XRP. You said that something is going to be happening, some serious moves are going to happen in June. Do you have any idea? This is June right now. Do you have any idea when in June?
Something's supposed to happen on the 6th. And they're talking about I think the 15th that this court case that they've been in with the SEC is supposed to be resolved. And most of the attorneys that are looking at, what's been transpiring are feeling that, XRP Ripple is going to walk away with a win. That remains to be seen. We'll see. I mean, the mere fact that XRP has been picked up by the Bank of International Settlements, that in itself is pretty profound. That's very deep. So it's an eventuality, but June is supposed to see the price of XRP skyrocket. And based on what's happening, it's creeping now. I mean, over the last maybe 5 days, it's jumped up to 53 cents.
Yes, I did see that.
From like 42. Yeah, so it is
Okay.
moving. We'll see what happens.
All right, so you recommend to anybody that doesn't have any should go on and buy some right about now?
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah. Yeah, you should have some XRP if you don't have it. No
No, I
question.
do have it, but I'm just saying for anybody that may not have it.
Yeah,
Okay, so I
if
also want
anybody, yeah,
go ahead.
yeah, I think people should invest in XRP. Like Vince said, we can't say, with absolute certainty when the CBDC is going to hit. Even though they're giving us dates that this is going to happen and that's going to happen, a lot of that is to generate fear mode that will allow, easy entry into this new financial paradigm that they're attempting to create. And really not paradigm, it's really a whole model, a whole new financial model that they're attempting to erect. We don't know. So yeah, until the music stops, yeah, let's just keep moving forward and doing what we do.
Okay. Thank you. I think that's all I have. Thanks.
Yeah, I see a hand up from somebody with a telephone and an area code of 301.
That's Maryland.
Yeah.
This is Jill Collins. I tried to sign up with UPMA and I wasn't able to. So I don't know if they're blocked or I don't know if I wasn't doing it right.
Did you get a link from somebody?
No, I just went on the website.
You need to have a link from somebody to sign up for UPMA.
Okay, how do I get that? Who do I get it from?
Well, Wayne has a link.
Yeah, I can send you a link.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Do you need my email address or do you have it? Or can you go by my phone number?
Put your email in the chat there.
I don't know how to use the chat. I don't know how to use this technology.
Okay, tell me your name again.
My name's Virgilia Collins, but my email address is JILL.
Okay, hold up.
Yep.
I gotta spell your name first, Collins. And your email address
My
is
last
what?
name is Collins. My last name is Collins, COLLINS.
I got that. I'm asking you for your email address.
Okay, that's my Jill Collins, JILLCOLLINS @gmail.com.
Okay, you said JILL what?
COLLINS.
Uh-huh.
2017
Uh-huh.
at gmail.com.
Okay, so read that if you can access the chat, because I just put it in. And Wayne, if you want to grab that. Jill Collins 2017 at gmail.com. Okay, Ruth X, you have your hand up.
Hi, Vince. Hi, Wayne. Thank you so much for acknowledging me. My name is
Okay.
Ruth Alexander. I've been listening to you guys for about 2 years now, off and on. I don't come on every Sunday, but I've been very concerned about what is happening with the advance of the CBDCs. It scares me to death. And you know, when I look at YouTube, I see other people are terrified and everybody's leaving the United States. Coinbase left, XRP is leaving, Binance left. The only people left in the United States is us, because everybody else is leaving. So what I have done, I started a website called stopcbdc2023.com. On that website, if anybody goes on, they'll see that I wrote a petition that anyone could download and send it to their senator, the state representative, the governor, the councilman, anyone in authority, to let them know that we are not interested in participating in the program that the rest of the world is doing. We have to remind them that we're a democratic government. We have 335 million people in the United States, and we have the power to stop it. So I wrote the petition. I also printed up some t-shirts so everybody could buy a t-shirt and wear it and talk about CBDCs to their families and their friends. I'm asking you guys, I was trying to get in touch with you earlier so that I can talk to you about this, because I didn't want to just throw it at you, but I'm terrified. I am terrified. And I didn't want to let another week go by without bringing your attention to this. My website is stopcbdc2023.com. Please have people go on there, download the petition, sign it, and send it. On the website, I also put in a link to all the 50 states with their senators, as well as the representatives with their email addresses. You just have to look for theirs and send it to every representative of the state and the senators. Let them know. So there are some senators who are violently opposed to it because they have cryptocurrencies themselves and they don't want to lose it. So if we, the United States people, get behind them and register our opposition, it will give them more power. And also it will kind of like, I hope it will kind of let the others who are actually for CBDC realize that that's going to be an election issue, a re-election issue, because I always think that we need new people at the top anyway.
Okay, well, a couple of things. And first of all, I just want to applaud you for taking the initiative to do what you're doing.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yes, because it's extremely important for folks to let the folks know in Washington and in the state houses around the country that this is not something that we are in favor of.
Yes.
But the other thing that I wanted to mention to you, and it's just really about language and the power of words, is to not be afraid.
I'm terrified.
Now, we can't live in a place of fear. We're living in a place of knowledge and awareness. And as a result of the knowledge and awareness that we have, we're able to think through what we need to do. So don't be afraid. Just plan to do what you need to do. What we are doing right now is we are giving folks tools to counteract the plans that they want to make.
Mhm.
So them pushing this stuff through is not automatic. And again, I really wish I was able to drop the videos on you tonight that I had planned to, because I've got Michael Saylor talking about the fact that he listens to all the testimony and he listens to what Democrats and Republicans, some Democrats and some Republicans are saying about this. And it goes back to what I said earlier. They don't want to give up their power. DeSantis doesn't want to give his power away to the folks in Washington. Cruz doesn't want to give his power away to the folks in Washington. Indiana stood up and said, no, we don't want CBDCs. North Carolina says no. Florida says no. Texas says no.
Louisiana too. Louisiana is working on this too.
Exactly. That's the
listening now.
point. That's not the point. But I will say that people making their voices heard, writing their Congress people, leaving messages on their voicemail. See, because this is the one thing that most of them are concerned about, and that is getting another 4 years.
Yes.
And they know that if they do things that you don't approve of, you're not going to cast their vote and they lose their job. Now, here's the other thing, and I apologize for going off on the deep end, but I'll tell you that most Congress people, they spend more time doing the fundraising to raise the money to keep themselves in office, because advertising is what allows them to keep their jobs. Okay. So keep doing what you're doing. And folks, go to that website and express your discontent and your disapproval, and hopefully it goes somewhere. But there are just so many different things that are going on that require us to be involved in the process. Like in the state of Ohio, there are 2 bills before the House and the Senate in Ohio that call for defunding colleges and universities that require their faculty and staff to take diversity, equity, and inclusion training.
What?
Yes. And they're also, in Ohio, they're also looking at replacing the State Board of Education with the board that's appointed by the governor, which gives the governor control over the education, and not allow people to elect folks to that Board of Education that will represent their interests. At the same time, they're banning books, they're banning critical race theory, they're busy on a lot of things. Okay, so this is just one of those isolated issues. But again, the message is that you got to contact them and let them know this ain't gonna work for us.
Not gonna work.
And if
It's
you
not gonna work
decide
for
that
our
you want to do
children.
this, let them know.
Yes.
Let them
Okay.
know that you won't be getting my vote come November.
That's
And
right.
that will get their attention. So again, I thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
All right, Sabrina. Sabrina, you still there? I think she may have inadvertently left. Oh, she's still there, but she turned her mic off.
Menu bar activated.
Okay.
Now?
Yeah, I hear you now.
Okay, I had to do some maneuver here.
Okay.
Okay. I have greetings again, Vince, and greetings, Wayne. And thank you both for the information today. Good information, like Verna said. And I have a comment first before my questions with the sister that's written the letters, and I can appreciate what she's doing too. I just want to ditto what you said, Vince, because as soon as she said terrified and fear, I said, there's a universal law that whatever we fear is we attract more of. And sometimes fear, false evidence appearing real, doesn't end up with the way we think it's going to. Because there's universal laws and the people do have power. But anyway, that's all I want to say about that.
Okay.
Wayne. There's
Yeah.
2 platforms that you mentioned.
Uh-huh.
They're being researched.
Okay.
Two things. One is if who's ever doing the research, if you could let us know who owns or started the platforms. To me, that's always helpful
Sure.
at some point, and because that's a big focal point for me, I know, and maybe others, I don't know, but that's what really attracted me to Novatech, was being able to do the research for myself on the owners, as well as United Precious Metals and some others. To me, that's big. Some of the platforms, when I went to try to find the owners, they were hidden. You didn't even know, you couldn't find nothing. And there were some of the ones that went under. So that's all I have to say about that. So I'd appreciate it. And if you need help, I'm willing to help with that too. The
Well,
other one,
I sent you a link.
did you send me a link on that?
Yeah, I sent you.
Oh, I think I did. Yeah, I'm still playing catch up from when I was out of town.
Yeah, I think I
did-
sent you, I sent you a link back earlier in the week.
Yeah, I think I did see your, so that was one of them. Okay, good. So I can do some research on it.
Yeah, I think the thing that really generates discomfort and fear, insecurity, is that you don't have a an alternate plan in place that allows you to keep moving forward and maintain whatever the infrastructure is in your reality as you navigate all of what's transpiring. And at WBC, that's really what we're attempting to do is to give you options.
Right, I agree.
So that you don't have to fall into fear, because you have other directions, means, and methods that you can apply and utilize, to stay stable, as you navigate what we're going through. That's just the long and short of it right there.
Mm-hmm. And I know you gave a little spill. It's been a while. Might be that at some point, maybe next week or whenever, to give that spill again about mindset. But when one has declared prosperity, I just say it's going to come one way or another. It doesn't matter what the government. But anyway, my other question is, you mentioned that, I don't know if one or both platforms, it's fully operated with AI. I think that's what you said.
The second one is fully AI operated.
So are you comfortable with fully AI?
That's a good question. AI is something that I believe is going to become a dominant direction, for many aspects of how we're navigating our immediate future and our extended future. And there are individuals, that have stepped out there, like you look at Chat GPT, that has become a pretty, I don't want to say dominant tool, but it is a resource that's being used more and more by a variety, of different areas, in the culture. And I think that AI is going to have a pretty influential presence, in how we do things. And it's going to have a downside. It's going to have a profound downside in many, many ways. There's no question about that. But what I would say is that right now would probably be the best time to begin taking advantage of the implementation, of AI as a tool, before things really go crazy. So I trust it. I trust it as much as I know about it at this particular point. But the people that I know who are involved in that one AI platform, I mean, like, they said they're loving it. I mean, that's a literal comment. They said they're loving it.
Okay.
All
Thank
right,
you.
thank you, Sabrina.
Mhm.
We got Clarence Bowman.
Yeah, guys, appreciate you as usual. Excellent information. But I stepped away a minute. I missed the two platforms that Wayne was talking about. Can you put them in the chat or anything?
Yeah, they were in the chat. Let me see, because like I said, Quopi, QUOPI was one. And then what was the other one, Wayne?
Capitaler. Yeah.
Capitaler.
Can you spell that Capitaler? Say Pitiller or OR?
It's ER.
Thank you.
And the Quopi is QUOPI .ai.
Okay.
It's not .com or .io, it's .ai.
Okay, and Capitaler is .org, .com, or whatever.
.com.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
I'll check them out.
Okay.
Good.
All right,
What was that last one again, Vince? Nukopi?
QUOPI .ai.
AI? Okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay. Somebody put capitalizers.com. So it's CAPITALIZERS.com.
AI, when you saying are you saying AI like artificial intelligence?
Yes.
Yeah, this program is strictly, AI.
Okay, Wayne, Gary Mack wanted your email address.
Yeah, I wrote everything down. I'm gonna email him. He put his email address in the chat. So I jotted that down. Makeda, I have your email address as well. So I will be sending the links to both of you.
Okay.
Okay, I have one more question.
Okay.
I'm not tech savvy. How do I use the chat?
How do you do what?
How do
At the bottom of your screen, there's a menu. Do you see it?
Okay, I'm on my cell phone.
Okay.
Yeah, Jill, I have your email as well. So I have it. Yeah, Jill Collins 2017@gmail.com.
Yeah, but I mean, if I want to ask a question, I would have to do it in the chat.
No, you can ask right now.
Okay, well, I've already asked all the questions for tonight, but I mean, the next meeting, if I have a question.
Let me make this suggestion to you, Jill. When you don't know how to do something, go to YouTube and just ask the question, how do I chat on Zoom when I'm on my phone? And I guarantee you somebody in the world has made a video that will show you how to do it. I can't tell you how to do it because I don't use my phone on Zoom that much, and I can't really look at it right now. Yeah, just look it up on YouTube. And then you'll be ready next Sunday in case the same thing happens.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Okay, folks, we're at 10:10. So if there are no further questions, I will go ahead and move towards conclusion. I'm gonna have some bombshells for y'all next week, give you something to think about, but everything, as I said before, everything that they want to do to us is not etched in stone. And I will reiterate, don't live your life in fear. Just like Sabrina said, don't give it that power. That's why we can remain optimistic about what's going on with our treasured platform. Think positive. That's why our mantra is progress through positivity. With that, thanks everyone for joining us, and we'll look forward to our next meeting. We're going to do our due diligence on these new ideas that are coming to us. And also, this is just an aside. There are so many ways, I said this at the beginning of the meeting, there are so many ways to generate income. If your interest is in generating income, you can do that. The internet is one of those places that will provide those options for you. You can make money chatting with people. You can make money being somebody's friend online. They will actually pay you to be their friend. I know this sounds ridiculous. I know it sounds ridiculous. I'm gonna get graphic here as we end this meeting. But there are also hospitals that you can go to in America. Well, they will collect your stool and pay you $500 every time you donate it.
That's like donating blood.
Yep.
Why? What are they looking for?
Well, it's not what they're looking for, it's what they're using it for, because there are people who have ulcerative colitis and other issues, other digestive issues, and they actually do a transplant of feces. They'll put your feces in someone else, and they'll get a health benefit from it, believe it or not. So if you get desperate, you ain't got to go to the plasma bank. Just go to the hospital and do what you do, most of us, every day, at least once a day. $500.
This culture is just so, this is the most backwards culture in the history of humanity.
What do you say? Do you go in there and say, I want to donate my stool, my
No,
specimen?
you go to the website, you look at the information, and then you make your appointment, you go to the hospital, and then, I spoke to someone today that said that in the process, because they actually looked at doing this, and they got to they were all fine until they got to the point where they said, well, they have to test your blood. And your blood has all this information, just like your feces has all that information. So, I mean, but I mean, if people are desperate, and if you got, I want to say the S word so bad, but I can't do it.
But I'm saying, you're saying they put your stool in somebody else's body? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. They will do a fecal transplant, and if you got good, I'm just gonna say it, if you got good shit, it can be good to somebody else. But you can actually sell your shit. Okay. I said it.
Do they have we have training this week?
No.
I saw some links for training.
Yeah, no, we don't have, but if we do need the link, we'll let everybody know. So that's how that works. Those meetings are set up in advance. So, if we need to use the link, we'll just let everybody know we're having a training workshop, and you can use that link in your
they were links about training workshop and withdrawals and something about back office.
Yeah, I don't know what you're referring to, but I set the meetings up, so I know that those meetings are scheduled in advance. But we don't have any meetings scheduled. Now, as we get into these new platforms, it's going to be necessary that we do training workshops just to get everybody acclimated and aboard and all that. So we'll do that. But we don't have plans immediately, but we will have workshops, and we'll do everything that we can to get folks up to speed.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And again, thank you to everyone for joining us tonight. And we will look forward to our next session. So with